All right, we are live. Let's make sure we're on here because sometimes it takes us a little delay to get in. Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to today's Wednesday's parenting tip. And I am so excited. I've just been off camera, just sitting here and chatting with Gina about some of our stories about my crazy kids and learning more about her and her family. But I'd like to introduce you to Gina Koch. Now, Gina's got 4 kids of her own. And so I'm going to have you introduce a little bit about yourself, Gina. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with Parent Kindly.
All right. So like Karen said, I have 4 kids. They're a little bit older now, but, with 4 kids, there was a ton of chaos and conflict, between parent, child, between kid and other child. So it was very challenging at times. And my background, I've worked in the corporate world for 30 years. And, some of the principles that we use to manage the workforce, I was thinking, well, can't we apply those to family life? And just establishing the boundaries and expectations, rewards, consequences. We have those today in our jobs. Why not? Can't we apply them to our kids? And so I know I needed something with the chaos, and I didn't really enjoy myself as a parent. I didn't like my yelling, my screaming, and I knew it was destroying relationships with my kids. And so I started coming up with solutions to try and minimize, get to calm, foster communication better, connection, like you say, Karen, connection versus correction. So really working on developing tools to help me manage my kids and the relationships with my kids. And so that's kind of the background and how I started.
That is great. That is great. And for those of you who are joining, if you join me for parenting tips, you kind of know what you need to do. But if you could click the link above my head that says streamyard.com/Facebook. That allows Facebook to access your profile so you can introduce yourself here in the comments. Let me know you're here, where you're coming from today, so that we can engage here more with Gina with any questions that you may have. So click that link. Let me know that you are here, where you're coming in from today, and we'll be able to kind of answer any questions that you may have and just engage a little bit more as we go through this. So Gina, what led you to, I know obviously being in the corporate world and then identifying, we got some tools there. Why don't we, put that into the workplace, which was very similar revelation that I had when I had learned about personalities in the workplace and saying, how come no one's doing this at home, right? You know what I mean? So as corporate women, we're saying, we can bring these same tools and strategies into home to be able to do that. So what were some of the things that you found were most challenging for you with your kids that led you to develop certain, products and strategies and resources?
Yep. Well, and a lot of it was establishing expectations, accountability. A lot of times those are implied and we don't communicate them very well. And it's really working with a child saying, hey, this is the solution we're going to use. First, getting buy-in. We have a choice here. We can do the yelling, screaming way, or we can do it a different way and make it a little bit more fun. So that's kind of what started everything, not always the hard discipline, you got to do this, and driving the child. It's working with them on solutions. So that's kind of the background on that. It's the same type of principles in the workforce, getting buy-in, accountability. So I'd like to share a couple today with you and your audience. And
yes, I love that. I love that. And I love the thing that you had mentioned about getting buy-in. I think a lot of times as parents, we dictate, but we don't collaborate. Does that make sense? And so one of the things that I'm in agreement with just what you're saying is I always talk about the family meeting. What are the behaviors that have been the challenge? And I was a yeller too, and I didn't want to yell. And I'd have to ask my kids, well, why do you think I yell? And it's like, well, because we don't do what you tell us. And I'm like, bingo, so it's when you have that buy-in of bringing the child in for the solutions, we get that buy-in, and then it's easier to implement that. So I know you've got a couple of great things that you want to share with us today. So yeah, let's get started with what's your first idea?
So my first one was around reminding kids. And I know, who doesn't hate reminding kids to perform a task?
Right.
And I would ask, over and over again, and I would become unglued to the point again of yelling, screaming, get this done. And I didn't enjoy myself. I didn't like myself. So what I developed was what we call, the product name is the Kid Reminder.
Okay.
And it comes with a family contract. And it's this is for the family to sign. We can choose to be respectful and use this as a tool, or
Right.
we can have the screaming. So all of our products come with the family contracts, and it's a very simple idea. And what it is a novelty button. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, I can. Yes, yes, yes. Good.
So it's blank. I get to the point, 3 strikes you're out. It could be 2 strikes you're out, or you can use it in a different ways. A lot of times I will say, I need this task done. You write the task on the button. Sometimes I place it even on the fridge. You have until the entire day to complete it. You know, it's on, here it is. Or when I know I need something done immediately, I attach it to the kid or the child. It doesn't, what we have is a clip backing and a magnetic backing, so there's no pins.
Oh, gotcha.
That's the nice thing about it. And, the idea behind this is no fun until done. So I place
Love that. No fun till done.
Take away electronics, phone, TV. You're not permitted to go to friends. And they know it's coming, and they know what their options are. They either get the task done or they can be without their fun.
Right.
And it could be a day. Usually they get it done pretty quickly, but and it's effective because then they can go back to their socializing and their normal fun activities.
I think that is so cool. And I love the no fun till done. I'm going to be stealing that one. That is a good one. And it really is, one of the enforceable statements, I will when you is, I will allow blank when you do this. But having that family contract, we are out up front with what the expectation is. And then by having the button that you can have on the refrigerator, I love that it can be magnetic, and that the child knows that when they come home from school or whatever, they wake up on a Saturday, that these chores need to be done or completed before we get on to the next thing. But the fact that we've got the family contract, the fact that we are upfront with the expectation, I think it makes it so much easier, right?
Yeah, but I also, one of my children have ADHD, and and it helps with that situation as well, because she tells me, Mom, I can't help it. I don't intend to not do these things for you. And it hurts her. She's like, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I struggle with this. So again, it's a fun way. Instead of me becoming unglued and screaming, it's an understanding and a way that we can work together on it. So that has been very helpful as well.
Right. We're not nagging.
Right.
They already know the system, because the buttons on the fridge are the things that need to be done before the fun begins. So I love that. I love that one. All right. What else you got? I know you got something else too, right? That was great.
I've got one more to share. And this is another area where I tend to become unglued, unhinged per se. And this is sibling arguments. And a lot of times they're very petty, and they want me to mediate and figure out the solution for them. And I lose it at times. And why can't you figure this out on your own? And what this is it's a tablet. It's called the Fight Right.
Fight
and
Right.
Yes. And it's initially, it was for sibling arguments. Okay. And for them to, what this tablet is for a way to take a time out. When they start getting into arguments, take a time out, separate them, and write about the problem. First, define what the problem is. A lot of times my kids couldn't even, they were heated and arguing, but they didn't really understand what the problem was. It's a way
We're just fighting and we don't know why. Right. What started this anyhow, right? Yeah, I remember getting into that with my sister and watching my kids do the same thing. They couldn't even remember. But once it started, it was like, the gloves were off. Yeah.
Yes. So it's a way to separate, for them to write about it, defining the problem, how they contributed to the problem, what they would have done differently, and 3 things they can agree upon to get back to good. And the idea is, after the argument, is the children come back together and try and negotiate and compromise on a solution.
Yes.
Now, there are times that mom or dad will still have to get involved to help resolve the problem, but you can use this feedback or input into the argument, see who's being fair, who isn't. And it's a way for you to look at it objectively and really hear what they're saying, trying to say during the argument. That was another thing I found myself doing, is when the kids would start yelling and screaming, the first thing I wanted to do is turn down the volume. I didn't really care about the problem or what they were trying to do. I just wanted to turn down the volume, and I wasn't listening. And so this is a great tool to kind of facilitate listening between the children and the parent to child. I use this also when I have an argument with a child. This is, a lot of times I'll talk over the child and, they get frustrated. I'm not listening or hearing. And so this is a way for, again, another great communication tool for us to calmly, define the problem and hear one another. So it's been great. Also, it comes with a family contract. So it's, again, a way that we can come to an agreement that we're going to be respectful, we're going to listen to one another, we're going to use this tool to help build relationships and solve problems versus destroying them, which is what I was doing. So
that is genius. And what you're teaching with that fight right is conflict resolution.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people don't know how to do that.
I would say even adults.
We don't have rules, and some of the things. One of the things that we teach in school is to have what we call an incident report or something, where what happened, how did I act, because we usually act in the emotion. We have to fill it out. So you have to think through your process, and then we get to the point where what will I do next time? And you're following a great format with that for the child to identify what happened in the emotion, and what could I have done differently, right? And then being able to come to a common ground is teaching that. And that is a life skill that they will take into every relationship in their life, whether it's a sibling, whether it's with their spouse, whether it's with their child, when they have children, you are teaching a great skill that I think is not being taught lately because we do too much texting back and forth that we're not communicating with our words, how to resolve conflict. They are two amazing resources and tools to be able to use. Gina, I am so excited about what you have. And so people can find you. You have a Facebook page.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Parent Kindly is a Facebook page. Because we've been talking, I've been seeing more of your stuff showing up on my newsfeed. So I'm so excited because these are just a couple of the resources. You have so many more. And you also have a website as well. So you want to tell us a little bit more about your site?
Yes, it's called parentkindly.com. And we do have some other free resources available just to help parents with their pet peeves, around, fighting over front seats in the car, even a commitment card. And it's, there's other free resources out there that you can get on our site, register for a newsletter. And I appreciate you, Karen, inviting me to share this with your audience.
Absolutely, Gina, because these are things that I'm so happy that I met you and found you, because these are things that cycle. I call it the cycle. It's over and over and over again. And if we don't have the tools and resources to break that cycle continues or escalates. And what you are sharing with us, just with two, because I know you've got more resources. These are things that are not only calming that craziness in our home, but teaching a skill that child will now have, that they will carry through for the rest of their life. And that's the one thing that I really think is important, is teaching the life skills as well. So that has been awesome. And I know we've had a couple people on with us today. I didn't see that anybody kind of chimed in. I know a lot of people like to just watch and listen in, and they can always comment later. So feel free, those of you, I'm going to put contact information for Gina in this broadcast above. I'll put her links that you can connect with her. And again, if you are commenting on this, if you're watching on replay, Gina will also get tagged in that as well. And so she'll see that you'd responded, and you'd be able to ask any questions or learn more about her products either at her Facebook page Parent Kindly on Facebook or parentkindly.com, her website. Gina, thank you so much for sharing your insights. You are amazing. I love your entrepreneurial spirit and how you've taken the craziness of being a parent and put it into some great resources to not only calm yourself, from the craziness that you were living, but be able to share that with other people. It's awesome. It is awesome. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, we'll talk again soon.
Take care.
Y'all have a great week. Bye.